The biggest challenge that I faced is when we founded Zoominfo, we founded in a bootstrapped way. And today, in 2021, there's a lot of respect and admiration for people who bootstrap their companies. But in 2007, and when we founded the business, people wanted to see your VC chops. Who was the VC who had invested in your company? How much had you raised? That was the sign of whether or not you had a really good and successful business. And we didn't take any outside funding for the first 7 years of building our business. And we built it in a fast-growing, profitable way. And so in those years, it was really hard to start fixating on these other businesses around us who had raised a bunch of money and who were sort of on the fast track to success. So how we overcame that is we just focused on the operational efficiency and metrics of our company. And we just stayed focused on getting a little bit better and a little bit better at the way we went to market, at the way we build products, by the way we listen to customers. And what we ended up with, which was a much more effective, a much more efficient business that was really ready to scale in a different way than just a business that was spending a lot of VC money. And it really changed who our company was and now who our company is. And we're incredibly smart about the investments we make. We're focused on operational excellence across the company. And so that focus, because of the fact that we weren't taking down a whole bunch of VC money, that focus on making sure we're building a great business has served us really well. I think the biggest thing I wish I learned early on in my career was how important the people you hire are. And when you're out there building a business, oftentimes you feel like, okay, I'm running marketing and sales and product. If I just get a warm body into one of these different places who's just focused on that task, it will run better than me trying to spend 20% of my time here, 20% of my time there. And so when I went out and initially started hiring new senior managers to run those different functions, I did not take the time to find the right hires or the best hires. I wanted to get somebody into the seat, and I figured that would solve my problems. And it never really did. And it made it so the business didn't grow as fast as it could. It made it so we had these fits and starts in different departments. And so the best advice I could have gotten when I was starting my career was surround yourself with the best people you can find, even when that means paying more than you want to or more than feels comfortable. The right hires always pay for themselves and then some. I think actually I have two very big life hacks that keep me focused. Number one is I work out every day. Sometimes it's just 30 minutes on a Peloton bike. Sometimes it's more than that, but every day I carve out time for exercise. It keeps my mind clear and it makes me more productive throughout the day. And then the second is around work-life balance. And in the pandemic, this is a lot easier, but in a non-pandemic world, I made a decision when we had our daughter Grace about 4.5 years ago, said, look, if I'm ever in town, whenever I'm in town, I will see Grace in the morning and I will see Grace in the evening. So I'll be there when she wakes up and I'll be there when she goes to bed. And so that meant I wasn't going to go do any social activities. I wasn't going to go meet with, suppliers or vendors or bankers in the evening. I wasn't going to do dinners when I was in town. But I also recognized, look, my schedule is going to blow up. I'm going to need to travel to meet a customer or travel to meet investors. And so on those days, that's okay. My mind is clear because I've made the commitment to balance when I'm in town. And then I've also agreed with myself that when I'm not in town, that's going to happen and it's okay. And I don't need to beat myself up about those days either. So those two hacks help me a lot. I think that the secret to making good hires is number one, being super comprehensive about your search. And so when you're out there looking for someone to run marketing, someone to run sales, do a lot of interviews. Just because you meet two people and you really like the second person doesn't mean they're the right person or even the best person you can get. So be comprehensive about the number of people you meet in your search because it gives you a good mosaic of what's out there. And then you can rank people, within that list. So be comprehensive. 2, 3, 4 people is probably not enough people to have met to make a really big decision. And then the second thing around, it's just a little bit more about being comprehensive. Listen to yourself. There's never been a time where I've hired somebody I was super excited about, and then I ended up being disappointed. And there's never been a time where I was like, yeah, there have been times where I've been like, yeah, they'll probably be okay. And I'm never right about those hires. I always end up regretting not taking more time, not searching for the next person, not really trusting the voice in my mind. And so it kind of goes back to the, don't always look for the best hire, always look for the best person. It just means be really comprehensive about your search and trust the voice inside your head when it gives you confidence or is pulling back from a hire. Really, my goals this year for the business and professionally are to make sure that we're best in class all across the organization. And so I'm really driving my executive team to think about what a best in class accounts receivable team looks like, what a best in class product team looks like, what a best in class marketing organization, product marketing organization looks like, really down to every last piece of the company. I want everybody imagining what best in class looks like and then striving to get there. We've launched new products over the last year that I want to tie all together. But ultimately, 1, 2, and 3 are be best in class in everything we do. I want anybody, an investor, a shareholder, a customer, a partner, to be able to walk into our company, walk into any department at the company and walk out and say, oh my goodness, that is the best run insert department name I've ever seen. And that's the real big goal here at Zoominfo, is really operational excellence across all of the different divisions of the company. The number one objection we hear in SaaS sales is, I'm not the right person. I understand the value of your product. I understand the value of the service, but I'm not the person who makes the decision on this. And it's actually not that complicated of a objection to find your way around, but it's important that the next questions you ask when you're faced with that objection, it's important to really understand the decision-making structure of a company after that. So great, I totally understand, John. Who does make the decisions about these types of purchases? And what do they look for when they make these types of purchases? And are they the kind of person who buys, the least expensive product in a category, or are they the kind of person who wants to buy the best thing in a category? And what are the other things they bought, and how do the decisions there get made, and who's influential in that decision, and how do they like to be sold to? Do they want me to do a demo? Do they want me to bring customer case studies? What appeals to them most? And so it's less about getting over the objection and a lot more about understanding what the next phase of the sale looks like and taking advantage of that objection to really understand as much as you can about the rest of the sales process. Interesting question. I don't know who told you that I was a sales-oriented leader, but I will take that question. And, I am, because as a founder of the business, I was on the front lines selling the product, for the first decade. I was a regular quota-carrying sales rep, which was so valuable because I learned everything that landed for a customer, things that didn't land for customers. I got the feedback about things that were going well or going poorly. And that stuff just kind of lives in your mind. And so all of the other decisions you're making around the company are really colored by those experiences with customers. And it was it's incredibly valuable to be in front of those customers. But I think that as I grew and as the company grew, I just realized there were different places in the company that the company needed me and needed my leadership or strategic direction. And I needed to become a more full executive of the company. I couldn't just be focused on sales. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not focused on sales anymore. I am. I think that that's the lifeblood of an organization. But really understanding how everything else supports the go-to-market motion, and really how you surround the go-to-market motion with good executives all over the company that allows that motion to grow and persevere is really important. And so I just listen to the business. If you're really listening to the business and where you're falling down and where you're accelerating, you can pick the spots that the business needs you to focus on.